That old man got that tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit it!
Hey there, John.
Hey, how you doing? You all right?
I'm good. How's it going? A little mess up with the intro, but whatever.
No worries. That's right.
It's 9:30 in the morning for me.
You're dealing with me.
It's 9:30 in the morning for me. I kind of just woke up and watched Book of Boba Fett. I know Jason.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah, I just watched it this morning. We did a stream last night. The other guys did, where they watched it and talked about it. But
okay, because I watched the first one that you guys did.
Yeah,
and that was really good watching along. But I really enjoyed it. I don't want to drop any spoilers, but yeah,
I've been a little disappointed with it so far.
The first episode I was disappointed, but the one I watched today, much better. Yeah, a
little cool little Easter egg was in there if you're a comic fan. But
this Ralph McQuarrie stuff and comic, as you say, comics.
Yeah.
We can't say too much, right? So we've got to be careful.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going any further with it, but I wasn't about to get up at 3 a.m. to do it. Heck no. And I watch these with my kids, and they look forward to it. So it's like
it gets to a point where Star Wars just takes over your life. You're getting up at 3 a.m. to watch shows. You're doing podcasts about it. You're doing YouTube videos. You're building models. You're collecting. Where does normal life fit in?
My wife would say the exact same thing. She's like, "Would you just give it a break for a minute?" And I'm like, either I'm on my phone, or I'm talking to Jason, or I'm just working on models. It's just it's engulfing sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I've got 4 kids, so I've got to try and fit them into Star Wars somehow as well.
Well, I have triplet boys, and then I have 2 other kids with my wife.
You got 5,
yeah. So I got 5.
Yeah.
5 kids, 4 dogs, 2 snakes, a turtle, and a dragon. In my house,
a real dragon.
A real dragon. Yeah, it's an Australian bearded dragon. Yeah, it's freaking cool.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's as red as you are, brother. It's
Can we address the redness? Because now I feel a bit strange. I've got a red curtain and the sun's coming through on me, and it looks like I've been jogging or something.
Don't lie, you went suntanning, and you.
I know. Yeah, this is laid on the sunbed too long.
Yeah. So hi everybody, we're real early today because we're working with John's schedule, and he's 5 hours ahead of us. So, and most people around us are just going into work, but not me. I don't work that much, so.
Well, there you go. You can put it on. You can have it on the background while you're driving to work.
Right. So here's Jason. He's finally woke up and joined us.
Good morning.
How's it going, Jason?
Good morning.
How's it going, John? How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Yeah.
Did I wake you?
Just getting a little rested. Yeah, wasn't feeling too well, but I'm okay. Yeah.
You were up for the show last night?
Yeah, I was. Yep, got up for a little bit and there for about an hour, and then lay back down.
Yeah, John and I were talking about the show. How'd you feel about it? He didn't watch it yet, so you did.
Well,
yeah, you did.
I liked it a little better. Definitely thought it was better. I feel like what we saw this time around could have been the first episode, but they have their reasons. So let's sort of see where it goes and hope that we go in a good direction.
I could. The one thing I can say is I'm not really I'd rather he's not on Tatooine all the time. I'd rather he's.
Yeah, the flashbacks are getting a bit repetitive now. And,
yes.
But I don't know. It's getting better. That's a good sign. It's getting better.
Yeah, it is getting better. I figured it would.
In my opinion, it all boils down to: do we need it? Do we need a Boba Fett show? Is it something we actually really need? And I think it was enough to see him in Mando.
Yeah, I don't think we need a show. It's cool that we do, and I think it's going to get better. Mando started out slow with all the side quests all the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he's doing now. So hopefully it gets back into the meat and potatoes and
sometimes you feel it's like a video game almost. It's like cutscenes.
Yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yes. We talked about that last night very quickly. Just the overall vibe and feel does have this sort of Legend of Zelda aspect to it, and it's a little odd but they're purposely focusing on specific things, and obviously they're doing it by design, so these things will eventually come out later as a more impactful or prolific reason to be there. But one thing I said before, John, which I think you might be able to agree with, is the reason why Mandalorian worked is because it was a new character, right?
Yeah.
There is no emotional attachment. There is no mind's eye vision of what we have on this character. Yeah. So whatever you do,
they're telling us all about him. Yeah.
Exactly. But Boba Fett, we all have this attachment, and we all have this sort of high expectation. So one way or the other, there's always going to be this divisive, I like it, I don't like it, because of the way we all view it in our mind's eye and the way we have an emotional attachment to it. We're not going to see Boba the way we see him in Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi.
That's how I see him, like a 6 foot skinny guy walking around in a fit suit.
Yeah.
And when I see Tamara Morrison running through the desert with his feet wide like that,
it throws it off, right? It does. It throws things off. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah. I'm like, but then he got better this episode. I like his acting, and I like him saying "mate" as well, which is quite good.
Did he say that? I didn't hear that part.
He said, yeah. He says the dog, doesn't he? No hard feelings, mate.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I don't know. This is in kind of a new format that we've kind of new format. New show we've kind of come up with is, like normally on other shows they tell like what new pieces they got in. I thought it'd be cool if we kind of talk about like what pieces we're working on and what we're kind of passionate about. So I don't know, John, you want to go first?
Okay, well I'm working on everything there is to work on.
How many projects you got going at once, John?
I can reach over and touch things and pull things from areas that I've just shelved, and I've always got stuff on the go. But I suppose right now is the Razor Crest.
Okay, I can put that up, John, if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you've got the picture.
Yeah, I've been watching this build as you posted it. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So there's two camps I'm finding when I'm talking to people about it. There's the scale modelers that concentrate on this scale, 1/72nd, 1/48th styrene kits, and they'll scrutinize every single tiny detail of the kit, which is fair enough because that's their passion, So any mold, like seam line or any sort of texture on the kit or any ill-fitting parts or anything like that, they'll just destroy it, But when you go to the other camp, which is guys like me that build resin stuff and studio scale stuff and that, and can forgive these little errors and just want a cool looking ship to build and are willing to put the effort into making it shine, there's those two sides to that's what I'm finding, two different groups of people that are complaining about it. And I'm sort of camp B. I'm like I'm willing to put the effort in to change it and make it look right. And it's everything's there, the details, right? You can ID parts from it. You can literally ID kit parts, which would have been from the CGI library. So the parts that would have been scanned in at ILM and used throughout the history of modern Star Wars stuff. They've used just cherry picked original kit part items, which is lovely to see.
Which real quick, John, not to throw off your course, but a lot of people watching may not realize that. They think that if something, not that I don't want to assume that they all think, but a lot of people may be under the assumption that if something is CGI, then it may have just been designed sort of with artistic liberty, in ZBrush or something. But so even though it's CGI, they're still borrowing from
exactly
original kits. Yes.
Yeah. John Knoll did a talk at a celebration, and you can find it on YouTube, and he goes through the scanning of original donor kit parts, and you see him rotate on the screen in 3D and that, and then he'll place them on certain models and stuff, and you can see they're built up faithfully using original donor kit parts, which is lovely that they're doing that, and they're stepping into the digital era using original parts.
I'll be honest, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're not keeping them in the scale from each other.
Oh.
Yes. Well, this way they can make it any size they want.
Yeah. So
still.
you might get like, I mean, you'll recognize that part on top, both of you. You know, okay, so if I grab the model now quickly.
I think I can zoom.
Yeah, I don't know. Should I can.
So, if you can find that part on top on the picture.
Hold on, I'm gonna put you full screen. I can't zoom on the picture.
All right, so that bit there, that's the hood of the Ferrari in the back of the Slave One.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you know on the sides you've got Morse Carl, you've got C Lab. There's loads of parts on it. But
now, John, are those actually on the ship in the movie?
Yeah.
Those parts? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a scene. Oh gosh, there's a scene. Do you know the episode? I think it's in season 2, where Grief Karga and Cara Dune are inside that stolen sort of Imperial shuttle, getting chased by speeder bikes.
Yeah.
And the TIE fighters follow them, and then you see the Razor Crest take out the TIE fighters.
The cruiser.
Yeah, that thing on the floor with Cara Dune and Grief Karga and shooting across. There's one bit that someone's freeze framed, and it's a FLAC 38 part, like a triangle. And it's on the screen, full size. And
that's interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's great to see that. So back to this Revell kit, those parts are on there, on the Revell kit. So Revell have used that digital file and faithfully created the correct way the Razor Crest looks. Though I have found some details on it that aren't correct, but you know, it's a £40, I don't know, what's that, $60 kit. It's made for kids and grown-ups. You know?
Yeah, you can get it in the store, in a model store. Yeah,
and to have it looking that good for something so wildly available here in Europe, anyway, I'm happy with it. I'm chuffed.
Have you seen this, Jason, in any of our stores at all, or?
Yeah, it pops up from time to time. I saw it originally when they first came out. Target had a bunch of them, had a handful of them, and they didn't last too long. They sat around because we don't get a lot of restock of Star Wars stuff, but for some reason, at least my
I don't think you guys get Revell, do you? That's the European.
Well, we get we do get a version of it here, but it's the same thing. The packaging, everything kind of looks the same. But so instead of getting restocked with figures and things like that, for some reason our Target always has loads of model kits. Even like the figures, you can even get like the snap fit like Mando and Boba. Or you can get like the X-wing and the the ties and all that. But
yeah,
all the model kit. At one point,
I mean, like usually I wouldn't touch Revell with a barge pole. I just stay away from those kits. But it's the only choice we got, unless you want the tiny I think it's behind me, the Bandai. I mean, you could use that as an earring. It's that small. It's like that. It's pointless. But again, it's exquisite. The detail's perfect, but it's just too small. And I think you guys are getting the round 2, which is going to be the same company that's doing the AMT kits, the classic 70s and 80s kits. Yeah. They're repopping those. So that's who'll be doing it.
Then what else are you working on?
Okay, can I jump over and get?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
How you doing, man?
Okay.
Busy day today?
I got this guy.
Oh wow.
Oh, fantastic, man.
Roger.
Wow.
Love it.
So again,
I'm still smitten over that.
One of your guys on the hyperdrive, he had a bus made.
I think it was Kevin. Was it Kevin?
Yeah, and I think I messaged the guy and said, "Do you mind if I steal that idea?" I just quite blatantly said, "Would you be okay if I did a bust of one of those battle droids?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, go ahead." So I know a guy that's printing them beautifully on the FDM printing, and it takes a lot of work, but it's the same as that Darth Maul droid thing, and it just requires a lot of sanding and priming. But hopefully that'll be another big thing on the shelf.
Do you use filler primer or do you use like a putty?
There's a stuff called Motive or Motip, I think, and it's as you say, filler primer, but it's like a putty. It literally comes out like silly foam, or it's got that stuff like the fake snow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That
It comes
thick.
out
It
thick.
goes on that thick.
Yeah, and then when you sand it down, it goes glass smooth. You know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it fills in like all the. I just discovered it recently, Chris. It's interesting because they have a liquid version of it too. But when he's talking about, literally fills in all the bumps and lines, and and then you just sand the sort of imperfection of that versus trying to get all the lines up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll finish off with normal grey primer because that's just the colour and finish I like to work with. But it's changed my mind with 3D printing because the FDM stuff with all the lines in it used to drive me crazy. I wouldn't even want to touch it. It's not for me. No, I don't want to get involved. And then this primer came along, and when you're working with such big things, the details aren't so. Well, I want to say that it's not important for them to be lost, but it's not like a model kit. You'd never use this primer on a model kit; it would just destroy it. All the detail would be lost. But with these big life-size objects, you can really use that primer to your advantage and really get rid of all those print lines. And
the primer I use is a VHT engine block primer, and Randy Cooper turned me on to it. And when you spray it on, it looks really thick, like not that thick that it's filler primer, but when it dries, it shrinks and shows all the details. Like I don't lose any detail on this primer, I've tried a couple others, to see if it would work better, because this is like engine block primer,
you would, some of the primers you wouldn't even think you wouldn't want to touch a model kit with, but when you use it, when they cure, the details pop.
Yeah, the detail stays. I don't lose anything, and one problem, if you want to get down, and it's tough to sand off. It's really brutal to sand off. It's like a 1,000-degree primer. You can't even burn the sucker. It's like, so my models are safe from the fire. A little
your
bit,
models will disintegrate inside, but the primer will stay on it.
Yes,
Exactly.
Stay a shell.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, John, you say you use the gray primer for everything, right?
Yeah, like the Tamiya, or we've got like a auto shop called Halford's here, which you can get like a big can for like £10 or whatever. It's it lasts for ages.
Let me ask you a question. When you're doing, let's say, an X-wing or a Y-wing, okay?
Yeah.
Now they used a black base, right? A black primer underneath.
Yeah, not always, but they did. Yeah. So
okay.
Sometimes when you see the Dremel work that's been knocked back through the panels and the wings and the sides, that's sometimes even the black styrene showing. It's not always. It's not always the black primer.
Oh, okay. All right. So what I'm wondering is,
if you took a drill or whatever to one of your models now and tried to drill it back, you wouldn't necessarily go straight back to primer. It'd be very difficult to just lose that top layer, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You'd go right down to the plastic.
Yeah, but what I'm wondering is, say with say my Sandcrawler, I used a white primer.
Right.
Now, if I use a darker primer, that I wouldn't have got that like faded orangish brown color. Like the base coat kind of like changes the color of your paints, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So if you build up reefer white over black, you're going to do so many layers of it, tons and tons of layers. But it's how close you want to keep it to the original, because the Sandcrawler I can't remember what primer was used in that, but then you've got to think the scale. So yours is a smaller, or yours is about half the studio scale.
Yeah.
So you've got to work out, is that you've got to change down the lights and all that sort of thing and how it would shine through. But you're quite right, with a white primer, your browns would have turned more orangey.
Yep.
And you wouldn't have had to put more layers on. So yeah, you've got to think backwards quite a lot and see what what primer to use. Just the rule of thumb with me though is I just use grey, because it just seems to work.
Okay.
Work well.
I also was thinking about, like, Slave One, the wings. You do the primer, then you do the yellow, the armor yellow, and then you spray over it the reefer white. it gives the reefer white a different color than if you
Is that
spray
me
it
lagging
over
or you guys?
I think it's you. Jason, are you good?
I'm good here.
Yeah, okay. Think you're a little laggy.
Is that me lagging?
John? Yeah. Can you hear us okay? Yeah, no, guess not. Why don't you jump out and jump back in? You good? He's moving.
Yeah, he's moving.
I don't think he's ready. I don't think we're coming through to him.
I think it's StreamYard. StreamYard always does it every once in a while, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I was saying, it's like the reefer white changes a different color if you put it
Okay.
under.
I'm gonna leave and come back in again.
Okay. So I've actually been playing around with maybe doing different, like if I'm going to paint this piece right here, right? So I'm like thinking about putting colors underneath like my base coat, like my I don't know what color base coat I'm doing yet, like a gray, some type of gray, concrete or something, you know.
Yeah.
But then doing underneath that, doing some kind of color so that it kind of shines through differently. Then you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm gonna play with it a little bit.
No, it makes sense, and that's how you get a lot of the elements. You know, early on, even when we first initially started, and you know me, I one of the things I was able to help you a lot with was color, and a little bit of like color theory and stuff like that. It's one thing that I studied for quite a while, and you know, it's just assumed that if you want to add some additional coloring, you always go on top, which is possible, but a lot of times it's done from below.
Yeah.
And it's no different than like when you're younger and you're doing an image and you do it in black, you know, black line, and then you go ahead and color it in. Well, the proper way is you color and then you ink or align it. And it's similar when you're doing something in a 3D form. You can bring some of that color out by going layer upward, you know.
Yeah.
Sort of building upward. Yeah, but it's interesting too, and it's interesting how you can take certain colors. Reefer white specifically can really take a lot of different, you know, especially colors that have low opacity or colors that are very see-through. I tend to use a lot of the reefer white. If something is very, very see-through, or you have to put a lot of coats on, you have to go heavy with it. Rather than going heavy, I'll add the reefer white to it, add a little bit of the white, and then that allows me to just go on with a lighter coat and not have to put so much on it.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. That's
No
probably
worries.
my internet.
That's fine.
It happens. It's okay.
So you any more, John? You got any more projects going on? That
I got the big Razor Crest that's printed again, but that's resin printed. What else have I got? I got MC80 here.
Oh.
That's the
Nice.
Anagrand
Oh.
model, the old resin Anagrand kit.
Now is that the Home One ship,
No,
or is it the other one?
I'm not too clued up on the Home One and the MC80, but I believe the Home One is without the wings.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the Home One just had the body, and then the wings were added on the side. So
the one with the wings was like the white with the pinks and oranges, right?
Yeah.
And the other one has those funky. I keep looking at pictures of that thing, trying to figure out how they painted it like that, like with all the different.
Well, you got to think
panels.
it's huge. So, I mean, on the back, I haven't studied it too much yet. But those engines, they're Sat Vs.
Okay.
I think they are. So that shows you one of them is the back of a Y-wing.
Okay.
That shows you how big this thing would have been.
Oh yeah, that's right. The cans.
Yeah. So
wow. So what you're gonna do that? How are you gonna paint that? Like the white and the orange, or?
Yeah, the white and the orange. Yeah. So there's white, orange. I think there's even pinks on it. I can't remember.
Oh,
yeah. It's quite interesting because it's the Moncal ship, right? It was meant to be built by Akbar and his lot. So they've got to keep it in that sort of marine type look.
Yeah.
So it's like a crustacean or something, you know, like a crab or something. So
I really like the Home One paint job. Like I look at that and I'm like, I didn't know that paint job was like that. until I looked at that Chronicles book.
Yeah.
And I zoomed in on it, and it was like, holy shit! Look at this! Look at these all these little squares. Like I keep looking at it, trying to figure out how they painted it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at it recently, and I wouldn't want to say, but I think it's just loads of masking. You know, perhaps masking templates made up, and like some like just random oversprays and all that sort of thing. But yeah, you're quite right. It's a beautiful looking thing.
It's amazing, and it's only seen on the screen for like a split second.
Yeah, it's just all that work. It's like it's crazy.
Probably hundreds of hours of work, and it's seen for like that, and it's over.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's such a bummer.
Yeah, blink and you miss it for sure.
Yeah.
So apart from that, I don't know what. I've got a Star Destroyer bridge up here, just taking down random things. So that's using all original kit parts.
Hold on, let me put you full screen.
Yeah.
Oof. I'll tell you what, John.
I really like that look.
John, this look has grown on me so much. Like,
yeah. Like
without
putting the
painting
donor
it.
parts, but without painting it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It just, it's real. I'm gonna have
that. It gives you that full like diagram, and you know, it's sort of when you see like exploded art. You know how it's like broken apart before it's pieced back together.
Yeah.
It gives you an idea of what you're really looking at.
Wow.
So this is Marvin. Marvin's a good friend of mine, right? I should know how to say his name, but I don't. I always forget, or I pronounce it wrong. It's Marvin Steifelhagen. So sorry again, Marvin, if I've got that wrong. But it's the same as his Sandcrawler. He provides you with the acrylic or laser cut MDF in the Sandcrawler model. With the Star Destroyer, all this is laser cut acrylic, and you put it together, then you skin it. So skinning it means putting all this styrene over it. So once you've got the styrene on it, it just becomes the same as how ILM would have made it. So somehow I've got to get my hand in here and drill loads of fiber optics as well. Lighting. So that's another.
And which some people might not realize, but a lot of the original pieces actually had acrylic. I don't want to say bases as in a base holding it. The base of the ships were acrylic. I think like Star Destroyer itself, the Falcon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's another one of my on the to-do list. I still haven't finished the X-wing either. So
Jason and I have been talking a lot about having a piece done, doing a piece where we don't paint it. And and you know, Slave One comes to mind first of all for me. But you know, that might be out of the realm of possibility. But even like you said, does Martin sell those Sandcrawler kits?
Yeah. So it's Industrial Light and Models, I think he calls his business. But if you look up Marvin Steifelhagen, again, Marvin, sorry about your last name being pronounced like that, but he does the Sandcrawler and he does the Star Destroyer bridge in kit form, and he's a perfectionist. His work, he won't send something out unless it's perfect. So hook him up and just and say what you want, and he'll make it up and send it out to you. But the Sandcrawler is a beast. It comes in this massive box, and it's like all laser cut shapes, wooden MDF laser cut parts, and you just white glue, wood glue the whole thing together, and at the end you've just got this huge wooden Sandcrawler, and then it's down to you again to skin it by putting all the styrene on, and then finding all the original kit parts, and it's the closest you'll get to getting an original model.
Wow!
Because you're not buying a kit.
Some great stuff here.
Yeah, you're not buying a kit. You're buying the starter
skeleton.
Yeah, exactly. Like Guy's Slave One. He's not sending you a kit. He's sending you what you need to build it properly and accurately.
Well, I don't know. I've been seeing. I saw a couple people build those already, and the kit parts that are on there. I like when there are a lot of colors to them, like reds and greens, and it's cool when they're all grays and tans too. But when you add in some colors, like like Ferrari kits and stuff like that,
black,
sea life stuff,
red, blue.
Yeah.
And you get the Russian greens and that sort of, that all comes.
Yeah. It just kind of pops.
But yeah,
It's
you're right. I
definitely
mean,
got a nice
the
appeal
Star
to it.
Destroyer here, that is just going to be like a grey. So you're going to kill all those kit parts.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be just grey. So, but then I also like a model just in primer as well. There's something about just being that primer colour.
I agree to that, John. I find that interesting that sometimes I enjoy it before the paint goes on. It just has such a unique look as a monochromatic piece, with just the primer. Yeah, I do like that look.
Well, I had these two pieces in gray primer right next to each other. And I was like, oh, that looks pretty sweet, actually. Yeah.
Chris, I love the way you've got that set up there. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm going to put another pedestal there, and I'll probably wrap some around there and then I have a same setup over there. Or right now, my Salacious Chrome is sitting on it. That's going to move over there, over somewhere else. And it'll be another setup like that, right over there. So that's the plan, because I'm running out of room. And I need more models, so it's
get rid of those helmets and figures and start putting some models in there.
Yeah, well, the vintage figures. The real plan is my son probably move out in like 5-6 years. I have a whole another room right next door that I can knock a wall down, and it's a 15 by 20 room that I can fill up. So
Nice.
I'm not wishing my son to leave all that soon, but sort of am. So
yeah, just keep leaving his food by the back door and just keep correcting that, man.
Yeah. But
so Chris, you're working on the hospital ship, right? You finished that? You just painted it?
I did finish it. I have to ask, where did that hospital ship come from? I think somebody mentioned, like somebody said, I've seen somebody post that they thought it. What's that?
The name hospital ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lee Ralph was the one that.
Oh, he did.
I don't know if he came up with it, but he was the one that started telling me what it was called. But
I just finished it. I just finished it, and I went a little different route than other people have. Mostly it's been red and white, and I did it looks really muted green, but it has a different and then,
I love it.
Underneath I did some colors that you can't see. I love the little dude, the little.
yeah. I hope he's strapped in because he's gonna fall out, right?
Yeah. So, I just finished this one. This is my first scratch build piece.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You did a super job.
It's making me not want to do kits anymore because. And the funny thing is, my son pointed out something is that it actually looks better upside down. It looks like a real ship upside down, like a cockpit and the engines and the rudder, but
see, that's the upside down. That looks like something you'd see in the prequels or something.
Yes.
Something Clone Wars-y or something.
Exactly.
And the guy standing would be right side up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy would be the right way. Plus, these are kind of like antennas, maybe almost. But as we know, in Empire, it's this way. So
it is, yeah. But they could have been coming in upside down.
Oh, I'm all blurry. The funny thing is that everybody thinks of the side with the dude, the British naval officer. That's the hero side, but it's not. It's actually the hero side is actually the bear side.
Yeah, strange.
That's the way it's on in that picture. In the back screen, the back screen,
Yep.
But I always thought of that the hero side until I really started looking.
It's brilliant, and you're quite right. When you start doing kit bashing and making it accurate and using the original parts, it's very hard to go back to a resin kit again.
No, it is. It is,
and you're correcting things, not necessarily the maker's fault, but quite often it is. The cleaning up process, the warped parts, the ill-fitting parts, the parts that aren't in the kit.
Exactly.
You open up a can of worms. It's just
even panel lines. You don't you have to rescribe panel lines in a lot of resin kits. They're there, but they're not and they show up, but you have to rescribe them
They're
to
so
make
faint.
them.
Yes, it's because the model's been cast so many times, and it's lost all the detail.
Yeah.
Have you picked out some of the mold yet? The silicon or rubber? Have you found that in parts?
Yes.
Yeah.
The pink rubber. Yeah. They're hard to get out.
Yeah.
They're hard.
But now
to get
you know
out.
that every kit beyond the one that you've got will have that big dent of just resin where the parts gone.
Yeah. I want to do more scratch build kits. In fact, I'm starting to do one now. I'm starting to put the pieces together and starting to buy the kits for them. And Lee Ralph actually ID'd a part for me last night.
Oh, nice.
Jason. Yeah, Jason is not one of those. It's not the Ferrari pieces. It's a little tank piece, and it was like, oh shit! Like I would have never found that. Lee is.
What was that? Is that for that the
Sunderland?
Yeah,
the background ship that I kind of like repurposed as a Sunderland ship. I'll see if I can find the picture.
Well, I think you'll be one of the first to do that. I think.
Did they?
Yeah, I think you'll be one of the first.
I don't think too many people want to do it. You know, it's pretty ugly, and
that's it. Yeah. Try and find something that's terrible, and then you'll be the first one to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. But like the hull pieces are. Talk about yourselves, guys. I'll try to find it. See if I can.
I'm amazed that you did find that the Sunderland. I think it was at Sunderland. The front of it.
Yeah. That's
when you see the picture, I was like, oh, yeah, good shout. That's the part, all right. It looks like it.
Well, what I've learned is, and just looking at it, it was just a vac form piece. Okay. Yeah. But for some reason, this really looks like the Sunderland body part, you know, and it kind of fits like perfectly. And
yeah, well, it's that's going to be easier to use than making up a buck and vac forming over the top of it.
Yeah. With more detail as well, too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can find that. I know I sent it to you. It's not on my computer, but I sent it to you. So, Jason, why don't you tell us what you've been working on?
So, right now I've been collecting a lot of parts and just sort of backtracking, picking up a bunch of kits, which I've really been enjoying. And I don't know, going through a lot of old references and a lot of old images. I finally got just enough parts, I think, to do a Jedi training remote. Since that seems to be all the rage right now. We see a lot of secondary ones being released, and they all look great. Nothing against them. They look fantastic. But as Chris mentioned a few moments ago, one of the things, John, that me and Chris have been talking about, and I even mentioned this to Lee recently, was that having the scratch build kit bash pieces on display next to the kits, it's a different look and feel.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I'm being smart about it. I'm being objective about, okay, if somebody's releasing a piece and it's going to be $1,000, right? But I know I can, in kits and resources get it for $600 or $700, then I'm going to go that route, right?
How many Panther G's do you need for it?
Oh, quite a few. I think I got 4 so far. So I think that might be enough. I think I'm enough.
The Panther G's cost a fortune, the 148 ones. But if you get the Jag D Panthers with the sloping armor at the front, a lot of the parts are shared and they're a fraction of the price. Still Bandai.
So what I've been doing, and this is interesting, so I found it by accident. So originally I was trying to figure out the tracks. You know the tracks that they have on the tie, above the ball of the tie?
Yeah. So
I was trying to figure out where those tracks are coming from, because nobody had the exact. It was always like, well, this is close enough, that's close enough.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the exact. So then I found some guy who just sold nothing but tracks. That's it. Like his whole thing was just selling tracks, every track you could think of from every kit. So then I found another gentleman just going down that rabbit hole who sells different trees, different spruces or trees, whatever you want to call them, of parts. Like, so he would, this is, not take the pieces off, but disassemble an actual kit, take each, tree of spruce out and just sell them off $10-$20 a piece. So instead of buying the whole kits, $150, $200, I'm buying the bits that I need the plates.
Yeah.
Spruces, whatever you want to call it. So I've been doing that. I actually get 2 coming in today to finish off an ATST, the one I got off of Lee, the stop motion one. But so I've been actually doing that, and
you can do that with the F1 pass as well, like the big 112 Tamiya cars.
Yeah.
Quite often you'll find on eBay people be selling the sprues, like you just said.
And I'm loving it because, as we all know, there's some kits that you can spend $200 and you literally only need 2 pieces from the whole kit.
Yeah.
So I've been really lucky. I mean, I shouldn't say lucky because I'm, the other night, Chris called me at midnight and I'm still up 5 hours later on the computer looking. So it's not really that lucky. It is a lot of due diligence, but I've been putting in that time due diligence and getting these pieces. So right now, going the way of the Jedi training remote, going to get started on that. But currently, still topping off the ATST. So when Lee sent it over, it was close to complete. It was just missing some things. I had to take a few things apart, move some things around for accuracy purposes, and nothing against his. Obviously, his work is superb. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
right?
but he probably told you that anyway. He probably told you what needed to be done. Yeah.
Yeah. So he helped me out with like this, that, and the other. And then there was the whole issue of like the screen accurate, which is technically unfinished, versus the idealized, which everybody sees in kit form, or what most people have in their collection, right?
Yeah.
Which has the other pieces, added on from like the SD22 and all those bits. But I wanted to go screen accurate, and I just started to narrow down a few of the smaller pieces that hadn't come with it, and was able to get the.
Sorry, Jason. So the one that was used that you see on the platform with I can't remember the art
with Dennis
Muir, is it standing next to it? Yeah. And it's sort of like it's got one leg up. The film in miniature. Has parts come off that then, and they're put back on since those black and white photos were taken?
So quite a bit of pieces fell off, and like for example, I'm waiting on. Hopefully, it gets delivered today, but every day it keeps telling me delayed. But I'm waiting for the 312B Ferrari, and one of the on the chromes, the spruce with all the chromes. So it has this little L-shaped piece, and right on the back, you don't even see it on the resin kits. It's on there because what you can see is if you've ever been in a home where it's probably a poor example, but if somebody like smokes or it's old and you take like a picture off the wall and it has like the imprint of the picture, you can see the imprint.
Yeah.
You can see the imprint of the piece of where it fell off. And same thing on the bottom half underneath. There's a part from I think the Tyrrell P34 where they also got the neck, the tires for the neck.
Yep.
So I was able to get those pieces, narrow those down, going through some old
those tires. How would Lee found those tires? Like that's insane.
It blew my mind because I was just like, well, there's so many variations of those tires, right? And that scale.
They, like just folded them inside out, and that's the tire.
and that was it. And and it always drove me nuts. And Chris can second me on this because for some reason, when we first got a kit form of the ATST, it drove me bananas that you would always get like just a resin neck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not accurate. You want to do the rubber neck. And so knowing that, and I was able to get it came in with 2 tires, and it was, approached to me that it was an unfinished piece. And that was fine. But so I got the Tyrrell in for other things that I needed, but I figured, okay, I'll get the 3rd tire, flip the top one in. But looking at some images, I saw like the ghost image of pieces that had fallen off. And so I pretty much get it down to 99%. There's one thing that both Jason Eaton and Lee basically said like what they think it might be, but they weren't 100% sure. And it's this really blurry picture of the backside leg as it's sort of walking like this. And it's one piece that sort of came apart and fell off, and nobody's really been able to ID it. And that's going to be the only thing on it that's missing. But I got like the little side panels.
That's going to be nice.
Yeah, I got the little side panels that were missing from the kit, a couple other things. And I've gone through a bunch of tubes. I'm not sure if I have the exact correct ones, but I got them out of the kits from a couple different race car kits. So doing that, and then also working on the ion cannon. So what I do with the ion cannon, because that was already a pre-made sphere, was looking at the pieces. Me and Chris basically matched everything up, and then we bought the kits. So even though it's not a lot going on, at least agreed these will be the donor kits, the original kits. So So I'm happy about that. I like the idea, as I mentioned, of doing things as natural or as true to form as possible, rather than having the cast. And the pieces that we got in are beautifully cast. They're really, really nice, really, really clean. But it's just the idea of having the original ones. So I like that. So yeah, just a couple things going on, and then we're still waiting on. We get some other pieces coming in pretty soon, and yeah, just kind of banging away on those, and hopefully going to be working on some concept stuff soon. And yeah, so I'm doing the whole, as Chris works on the background shit thing, I'm doing both like concept / screen used. So I've kind of cheated so far because I've been able to get a lot of the concept stuff from Lee.
Sorry, Jason, I'm lagging again. Can I just refresh my screen? Sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
do you think?
Yeah, Jason, I he's a freaking, honestly, like a encyclopedia.
Oh yeah, he's like
computer.
He's like a
Comes up-
Wikipedia for the parts.
I wish I was half that good. Like, just I enjoy looking for kit parts. I really do. I just haven't done the background years of knowing. Okay, well that looks like this possibly, or that looks like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
but,
I will say this though, his ability
hang
to
on.
do that.
Can I just refresh because I think I'm lagging again.
Yeah. Sometimes if you drop out and drop back in, you can get better reception. Yeah, so like I love we've talked about this, Jason. I sometimes are like find a part and I'm like, oh shit, like could I have found this part? And then we figure out, oh, that's old news. Like it's just old news.
Yeah.
And like I actually feel like might have found a part the other day. Probably not, but it's nice to think that maybe I did, you know. I'll wait till John comes back to put this ship up to show, like, talk about this Sunderland. But
yeah, but as just to continue some conversation, as you were saying too, when we were talking about the resin kits, as you know, what I did with the Vader tie was I stripped off as much of the sort of cast greeblies as I could, and then topped those with the original pieces, just to get it again. You know, the base being the cast, and then get it as close to as the original as possible. But that adds to it. That adds to the fun of it, and that adds to the overall artistic endeavor of it, I think.
Yeah, it makes more of a hunt. Like
I
parts. I love it. I'll. It's terrible to say, and my wife is at work. She can't hear this, but I'll buy a kit, even though I just need one little inch piece. I may use that kit eventually. I have an idea of something I want to build later that I'll probably use a lot of kit parts that aren't used on other ships, but it doesn't bother me. I like my stack of model kit parts. So it's weird that I look at it sometimes, we had talked before about possibly like doing a t-shirt or something like that, where it's those model kit parts.
Yeah.
Less red.
Sorry, guys, I keep dropping in and out.
No worries.
Oh, that's okay. So as I was saying to Chris,
I've had to put my phone on charge, so I'm less red.
Yeah. I was saying to Chris, John, just to sort of top off like some of the things I've been working on. So like with the ion cannon, even though it's a sort of cast kit, and the greeblies were beautifully done, they were really clean. It's just getting in the habit of being a little bit more kit bash, scratch builds. And I did it recently when I was working on a Vader tie. Just out of curiosity, I started, sort of digging for those original pieces. So I cleaned off a lot of the casts, all the greeblies that were like placed on. I think it was the Michael Reese and Steve Nyson X1 Vader tie. And I basically just sanded off or cut off all of the greeblies that were on there, or most of them, a large portion of them, and then replaced them with the actual found parts. And it just has a much better look to it, much better feel. And it was much more. It was just much more enjoyable. I really enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun doing. So yeah, just collecting kits and as pieces come in, moving forward. But real quick before I pass it off to Chris, before we cut, what I was saying is, as Chris has been focusing on the background ships, I've been focusing on doing the concept and the screen use, sort of the sister pieces together. but I've been able to sort of cheat halfway there because Lee had spent so much time building a lot of these concept pieces, and I've been lucky enough to acquire them and then, you know, put them next to the screen use. So
hey, babe.
It's a good thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to sort of diving in and do my own as well.
It's heartbreaking when you get the kit and it's not how you want it to be and those parts don't look right.
Oh, it's so frustrating. Especially the biggest thing for me is the missing parts. That's what actually, with the Vader tie, that's what made me decide to start getting, you know, a parts list and figuring out what was what, because I was missing so much stuff. It wasn't even, I was like, either I'm going to have to scrap this kit, sell it to somebody who wants to take on the headache, or, you know, do something with it. And finally, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to, you know, make lemons out of, you know, I mean, lemonade out of lemons and just.
Yeah, I was saying just a minute ago, like, I don't know how you do it, because it is heartbreaking when you open up a kit and it's not how you want it to see. There's parts that have just got resin all over them, or they're not. Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? There we are. Okay, now I can hear myself. So yeah, this is the ship that I was talking that
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the way to do it as well. It looks so much nicer when you've used original parts. It's just so much nicer.
So this is the background ship that well, currently I'm working on 2 X-wings. I got.
Is that me lagging again?
Sorry, you lagging again? No biggie. Well, so here's the other background ship that I'm looking at getting pieces for, and like back here.
Yeah, it's lagging again, man.
All right, drop out and come back in. I'll wait for him to talk about that then.
Yeah, I feel bad. It's going to start getting frustrating for him
now. So, John, why don't you try dropping out and like restarting your, like, drop out of the studio and then come back in.
Yes.
See if that helps.
Sorry, man. I'll get one more try.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm working on 2 X-wings. I'm finishing up a X-wing, a Red 5 for myself, and one for Mike Costa. And then I'm gonna do some ion cannons, which we just recently got. Well, you've been working on it for a little while now. I just got it. Well, I got another one. And this background ship, a lot of times what I'll do is if I'm making a piece, I'll make 2 of them, because, you know, I can do the same steps along the way, you know, and I can work with mine a little bit. And if I mess something up, I know not to mess it up on the second one, you know? So that's what I'm working on right now. And then after that, I want to get started on this one, John. This one. So this is a background ship. It's been called the Dreadnought, which a guy on YouTube did a video of it where he fleshed it out. I love these videos that this guy does.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and then like here's the Saturn V parts, and then these are the Phantom engines, right? So down here is a green triangle right here. Okay, it's like a cone, half a cone. And you know, I was just looking at, is the Phantom JE the same kit as the Phantom E? The Rebel?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. All right. So, but the Phantom E has green.
Yep.
It's all green. So that's where I found this triangle piece that goes on top of this hose. All right. So what we were saying about the Sunderland piece was, if I can get it to go away. No, there it is. Okay. Come on, work.
FJ. Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, FJ. Yeah. So this is the Sunderland.
No, I think the FJ, there is a difference, I think.
Is there? In the engines? You think is there a difference in the engines? So here's the Sunderland body part, and it's shaped so much like this right here, this Dreadnought, right? But that's not what they used on the kit, on that piece. On that piece, they used just a vac formed, shape. They just, but when you compare them, like if I cut it here, it is so much like this piece right here, the top section. So I'm just going to use it. It doesn't matter to me that it was a vac form piece, and I'm not going to try to use a vac form piece to make like this. This has details and panel lines and everything on it. So,
yeah, that is actually really close.
It's so close, and it makes me almost feel like they were gonna use this and didn't for some reason, because it's just way too close to be not what they fashioned it after. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's pretty spot on.
It is. It's crazy. But like the bottom piece here, I haven't quite figured out what I'm gonna do with that one yet. And the neck here, or whatever they call that I don't know. I kind of want to get John's opinion on what that might be a possibility, or even Lee's, if they have some idea.
Can you go back to the archives pick again about that middle area?
Archives pick? This one?
Yeah, that one. No, the one
right there.
Go back. That middle
kind of looks. Yeah. Like I don't know what this is here. I think I found this green triangle piece, but I don't know what this neck is.
That tube.
This is the part.
Tube. That's not a kit part. I don't think that white
this
tube.
Here.
Yeah, I would say that's just some.
It's an actual tube.
Yeah, it's an actual tube. Yeah.
Okay. And this looks like it's been pieced together by a couple kit parts.
Yeah, it looks like it's been. Oh yeah.
Scored and read. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this here. And this is the piece that Lee found for me right here. But if you look here, it has it might be tool.
Could you flip that the other way? Like, could you rotate it 180?
Rotate it? Sure.
Yeah. Now go back into that part and scan along. That's the side of a that's a side of a 8-rad, I think.
This here, that's what I thought it was. Actually. Yeah. I thought it was an 8-rad. I was going to use an 8-rad.
That's the side. That's an 8-rad.
Oh, sweet. So that's an 8-rad. So there's probably one on the opposite side, or it's the whole cup.
The whole thing is the whole thing is probably the 8-rad.
Oh, beautiful.
Hey, let me interrupt on this for a second, Chris. I know me and you talked about this, but I don't know why this might seem silly to a lot, but John, you have a lot more experience than we do as far as having done this a lot longer. The thing that I'm most curious about, and it's so outside the box, but does pertain. Okay, so now they build these ships for the movies using actual parts and kits from off-the-shelf models, but then now these companies obtain a license, right, to produce Star Wars models, right? So now, are they like? I said to Chris, I was like, I wonder if there's any like license, sort of like, issues of like.
The closest thing to that, there was Bandai making the Bandai Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon, and Bandai were replacing Bandai's own kit parts on the Millennium Falcon.
Okay, so all right, so it's almost like a conundrum, like an oxymoron, so to speak. I'm like, well, they're licensing these pieces, but they're basically using their own pieces.
I think if they were to do it at the same scale, there'd be a problem. If they were doing a 1-to-1, if they were doing studio scale, then there'd be an issue. Yeah.
John.
Yep.
This piece here, Any thoughts?
This is live IDing. This could be the most boring show.
Oh no, I eat this shit up.
Name that part, Chris. Remember, I told you.
We were talking about this the other night. We should have you and Leon. We're like,
we're gonna get a group of you guys on it and call it name that part.
And you guys would be like,
I'm really bad at that idea, and so it's Lee that gives me most of my information and Guy. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say I can't.
No,
I don't know. But I can see another Sat V part underneath that green part, the circular part. Go down.
This
down,
part
down.
here.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's another Sat V cone, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Upside down, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
That's 2 parts.
Yeah, 2 parts. I didn't know. I think the only one I really need is this one, and I think there's a piece on. Where's that? Come on, man, killing me here. Escape. There. Nope. So here's another shot of the underside of it. Yeah, that doesn't give you much. That's the Sat V you're talking about right there, huh?
No, I was talking about literally like
This part.
There's like a. You're gonna have to go. You're gonna make me go and get the kit now, aren't you?
No, that's all right. You don't have to.
It's just next door. I could, but it literally is like it's like a that sort of size little round cone.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean,
see that grey part with the white marks on it.
Yeah.
That almost looks like a hood of a 112 car or bonnet of like a Formula One car, possibly like a hood.
Okay.
Cut down, but as you say, it's got those score marks on it where it looks like it could be just cracked and filled. I don't know. It's strange.
It's freaking interesting. I find this fascinating to talk about.
Yeah.
Rebel
Well,
Squad.
I mean, you could go a long way and build that to look like that without using the 100% parts in the middle.
I'm not totally. I don't have to have it 100%. I don't think. Like if I get most of these kit parts, like I said, I'm adding the Sunderland. So like the fact that you figured out that 8-rad and Lee figured that out.
It might be 8-rad. It's just you've got an 8-rad, right? In the stash.
Yeah, I have one. Yep. That's what I was going to use as the bridge, even if I didn't know what it was. That's what I was going to
there
use.
You go.
So yeah. So yeah, we are nerds, Rebel Spy. We're pretty bad.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, we're here on a Wednesday morning.
But here's another thing, and I'm not trying to justify anything, but when people scoff at pricing, right, for built kits, it's not. They think, oh, you're paying for it. You're not just paying for the paint job. You're not paying for the build. You're paying for the time it takes to ID something, the time it takes to buy that particular kit. That kit's got to come in. You get to buy another kit. You get to piece them together. Like it's just extensive. Even if even if you have the entire list in front of you, you know everything you need to get, you still got to track it all down. You still got to part it all out, piece it all together. I mean, there's so much more that goes into it than just taking something out of the box and putting it on your shelf. And I think that's where there's a little bit of a deeper appreciation for the piece. You tend to connect with it a little bit more because you didn't just, you don't take it for granted, yeah. I guess is the best way to say it.
Hi, Parminder. Yeah, like buying the kits, you may spend $100 on a kit and you might need like a 1-inch piece out of it. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, Jason was asking me how much I put into this hospital shit.
Oh, I'm going to be working on something for. I'm going to be working on something for Parminder.
Okay, cool,
nice.
We were trying to. He was pricing it to asking me how much I spent on the kits for this thing. It came out to like $400 or $500 for just the kits. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to the route of resin. I'm sorry. Donor part kits more so than anything else. Like, like some things like a Y-wing. Like I was looking at the kit list and it's like, holy shit, there's a lot of kits for this. There's no way I'm building one of these, but
The guy that did that run on the RPF a while back with the resin parts for the Y-wing, that's one particular ship that costs so much money in donor kit parts.
Yeah,
like it's a phenomenal amount of money.
Well,
So
it makes
that's
it
where
makes
I would
sense
go
now.
with a resin or
Chris, it makes sense now. John, I had been talking to forgive me, his last name is escaping me right now. Dave.
Is that me lagging again? Sorry.
He had done a Y-wing, and he quoted about 15,000 for it. And at first I said, what? No, but then now knowing, what went into it, how many kits and all that, it made a lot more sense after the fact. And I just said, wow, that's, it's amazing. I mean, we were just looking the last couple of days at the Porsche Entex, the turbo, and I can't find them for. I think the best deal I found was like 2,700 US. To do a scratch built slave, and yeah, I mean some of these kits, man, for the rare pieces are just getting harder and harder to come by.
Yeah, this I don't know. I not everybody is interested in this show like this, but I could talk all day. I could talk all day about parts and IDing parts, and and there really isn't an avenue out there for this. I think he's pretty far behind us.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, they use him, but you're right. There isn't an avenue for this, and I think the modeling community in of itself is.
I could talk all day. I'm just I've got terrible internet, so I really do apologize about that.
No worries.
Well, John, I don't know how you feel, but I think we should do this a little more regularly. Kind of make this sort of like a kind of a thing we do every now and then, maybe every couple of weeks. And we can talk shop. I found this fun, and I like doing this. And we're always working on new projects, so it's always interesting to talk about these new projects that we're doing. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I'll be up for it again. Yeah, sure. It's just I just really apologise about my internet. That's all. It seems so difficult to communicate at the moment with this bad internet.
We're used to UK guys having bad internet. We have that with
it seems to be a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing.
Stuck on that island, they have poor internet. They don't get fiber optic directly to the.
Yeah.
It's makeshift. It's bespoke internet.
Still in the medieval times. But hey, thanks for coming on with us, John. I think we're good. We're lagging a little bit, so we might.
I've had the phone engaged for an hour now, using up the phone line.
Okay.
Okay.
So why don't we cut short?
Yeah.
Maybe we can figure out a way that we can have you on next time, and you won't be so laggy.
Yeah, no worries at all, guys. Next time we'll make it better. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, stay on, John. We'll talk to you for a couple seconds, and we're gonna end the broadcast. And
yeah, sorry guys, but great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
See you later on.
Bye.